Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Amber in case you were new. Now today's video is going to be all about my second trimester of pregnancy. So by the time this video does go up, I'm going to be almost 30 weeks pregnant. So I kind of figured that it was time to do a second trimester update. If you guys see me looking down at this way a lot, it's because all my notes that I've written for this video are on my laptop and I've just got it there so I don't forget what I wanted to say. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I went, then please keep on watching. And the first thing throughout my second trimester, which drove me insane, was constantly weeing all the time. Oh my goodness, you have no idea how annoying this was. Now, I did feel like I needed to wee, a fair bit throughout the first trimester, but once I hit the second trimester, holy goodness. Holy goodness. But it was bad, like so bad. And I was really confused because I was always under the impression that the first trimester and the third trimester were meant to be the worst for weeing lots. But I got hit real bad throughout the second trimester where I was like weeing probably every 15 to 20 minutes at work and it looked really bad. I started noticing that my constant needing to wee was getting a lot worse. One day, this is like, I think it was a few weeks after the 12-week safety zone, I sat down and was about to have dinner with Nick and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really need to wee. But I've literally just been and I couldn't possibly need to go again already, and I just can't sit down and enjoy my meal if I need to wee. So yeah, I just got up, weed, came back, and then I was like 5 minutes later, I need to wee again. Like, what is going on with me? It was nothing like the first trimester. It was so much more aggravating and annoying and consistent. And sometimes when I go, like, I wouldn't even need to get much out and I'll be like, well, what the heck? Why is my body telling me you need to wee when you don't? Or like a little dribble would just come out and I'm like, oh, are you serious? Are you kidding me? I felt like I couldn't sit down for longer than like 15 to 20 minutes without needing to get up and go and wee again. Most of the day, especially in the morning when I get out of bed, my bladder would feel so sore and swollen. Even though I'd been to the toilet throughout the night, probably about 2 or 3 times, I did notice it gradually was slowed down around, I don't know, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was still there, but not as like all the time, like not so often. It did give me a bit of a break throughout the afternoon, but then in the evenings it came back again, and then going to bed or even watching a movie before going to bed was horrible because I'd have to get Nick to pause the movie all through the movie because I needed to go to the toilet, and I know that drove him insane, but I couldn't help it. I don't like to watch a movie and really need to go to the toilet at the same time. Same with eating my dinner. It's just super uncomfortable. And then at actual bedtime, I'd prepare myself for that and go to the toilet about twice before climbing into bed, and then I'd finally climb into bed, and once I guess maybe my body like could feel the electric blanket because I usually had it on like a low setting because my body was quite achy throughout pregnancy. I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I felt like about 5 minutes in bed and I already needed to wee again, and I'm like, this is so ridiculous. When is it going to stop? Now that I'm in my third trimester, I am still weeing quite often, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was in my second trimester, thank goodness. I don't want to talk about my third too much because I've only been in my third trimester for a few weeks now, and I feel like I want to talk about that in a separate video again once I'm close to actually having the baby. So yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. So that's the first thing that really got to me throughout my second trimester, that really stood out. Now I want to talk about feeling really sick. Now I don't mean like morning sickness type sickness. I'm talking about like upset tummy and like tummy cramps, that kind of thing. Now this happened to me in my second trimester about 3 or 4 times, maybe even more. But the times it stood out to me were quite bad. The first time I thought I had like really bad food poisoning. Turns out it was gastro the first time. But I got all the regular like gastro symptoms, like puking out the other end, really nasty body pains that you normally get when you have gastro, except my body pains were like a bit more excessive than I was used to. I got these really nasty, like shooting, like almost electricity type pains up my back, to the point where I would just cry because I'd be like, oh my gosh, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel normal. Like, should I be concerned about the baby? Like, what is actually going on? And I was just so upset. And yeah, I went to the doctor and he told me it was gastro, unfortunately. So then I reflected back to what I had for dinner that night, and It was only ravioli and Nick didn't get sick either, so it must have just been a nasty bout of gastro, and I probably caught it from work because, you know, working with children and all the germs flying around everywhere. And then it happened to me again like a few weeks later, and I was like, well, this time it can't be gastro, like surely, because I only just had it recently and I didn't want to like ring up work and tell them it's happened again, because I didn't want to let work down and I didn't want them to think that I couldn't handle my pregnancy either. So I went back to the doctor and he told me that he was pretty certain that I just have a very sensitive tolerance to food at the moment, which can happen throughout pregnancy. And I just had to like get over it. I would use like a heat pack on my tummy, and then I would lie in bed and turn on my electric blanket just to warm up my back to help it get better. And yeah, it did happen a couple more times down the track with the whole like sickness, sitting on the toilet for ages kind of thing. I'm still scared it's going to happen again throughout the remainder of my pregnancy. Probably will, you know, but I guess I just have to deal with it. To be honest with you guys, it hasn't actually been that bad where I needed to go to hospital. I'm just Miss Paranoia, always freak out about the smallest things. And yeah, I guess maybe it just felt a little bit more intense than normal, like with the pains and like the random throwing up. So I've just been a lot more cautious with what I've been eating lately and trying to eat more healthier. So other than getting these nasty back pains from random food intolerances and like random episodes of gastro, I've also still continued to get those random round ligament pains, which are like on either side of my groin, especially when I would like cough or if I had to move suddenly. I'd feel like a sharp stubby pain like down that general area on either side, and it is kind of like a shock really when you feel that pain. But now I know exactly what it is. I'm not too panicky. Basically, it just means that all your organs are moving and shifting to accommodate the baby, and yeah, you can't really do much about that when you're pregnant. So now I'm going to talk about feeling my son for the first time. Now, I was actually quite paranoid and concerned because I didn't think that I felt him fast enough than a lot of other pregnant ladies out there feel their children. But then again, this is my first pregnancy. Everybody's different as well. So, you know, I was just probably stressing for nothing. Well, I was stressing for nothing. But anyway, I did not feel anything until after 20 weeks of my pregnancy. And I was confused because I was on the internet obviously looking up to see at what stage pregnant people feel their children, like feel them moving around and all the little flutters. And yeah, a lot of people would feel them really early days, like 15, 16 weeks pregnant, and here I was at nearly 20 and I hadn't felt a thing. I remember seeing one of Fleur de Force's tweets saying, oh my goodness, it feels so amazing to feel my little baby girl like rolling around and squirming, and she was only 16 weeks pregnant, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Is my child lazy? Is there something wrong with him? All these thoughts were flying through my head, and I was just getting really worked up. And every time someone would ask me, have you felt bub yet? Or the doctor would say, have you had any kicks yet? I couldn't really give them a positive answer because I didn't, or I didn't think that I did, unless I felt something but, you know, confused it for something else. So just after 20 weeks, I did finally start to feel tiny little movements happening down there. It started off with like the sensation of like bubble popping, like in my lower abdomen area. And then gradually as weeks passed, they got a bit more stronger and then started to turn into like kicks, I suppose. I really wish that I just didn't stress so much and just enjoyed my pregnancy and was more patient with things and didn't think the worst outcome immediately, because nowadays I get booted pretty darn hard, and sometimes I can't even walk to the supermarket without like continuously stopping and grabbing my stomach because he's in an awkward position or something like that. So back at 20 weeks, it was a lot easier to live with, let me tell you. Alright, moving on to cravings. I've just got them down here so I can remember what they are. So, in my second trimester, I developed cravings for cheese and tomato sandwiches, but it had to be like that, I call it plastic cheese, but you know, the cheese that's wrapped up in plastic, like the fake cheese, I guess people would call it. Cheese and tomato sandwiches. I especially loved it more when like the bread was really cold and like really super soft. I smashed through them so much. I really love them. I still love them to this day. What else have we got here? Chips and gravy. Oh my goodness, let me tell you how much gravy has been amazing throughout this pregnancy. I just am obsessed with it, especially like the cracked pepper gravy that you can just get from like the supermarket. I would literally just put it on everything. You know what tastes really good with gravy? Like when you dip garlic bread in it. Oh my gosh, so good. What else? I was still really obsessed with sugar. That's still a thing. I don't eat as much ice cream anymore now though, because I'm trying really hard to look after my tummy because of obviously what I talked about before with all the stomach pains, and like you never know when I'm gonna need to throw up randomly or get really bad back pain. Yes, I'm trying not to eat as much sugar, but it is very, very, very hard because I used to be someone who would prefer savoury snacks over sweet snacks, and now I'm completely the opposite. I've also been obsessed with golden kiwi fruits. I said to Nick a couple of times as a joke, I wouldn't be surprised if your child pops out looking like a golden kiwi because the amount of kiwis I've been eating. I don't mind the like normal green ones, but golden ones are so much better. The final craving throughout the second trimester was cold Vegemite toast sprinkled in cinnamon sugar. I know that might be quite strange to you guys, but it's really, really darn good. And I also know that there are a lot more weirder cravings out there in pregnancy land. Sorry, I don't really find that to be super weird, but it was definitely my weirdest. Nick thought it was disgusting. I thought it was awesome. I thought the cinnamon gave the Vegemite a bit of a kick to it. It was amazing. Okay, I'm gonna go now guys because I have to film a second video today, but I hope you all enjoyed this update for my second trimester video. If you did, be sure to give it a massive thumbs up because that really does help me out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you want to see more of my videos, I upload every single week, so be sure to hit that subscribe button located down below. And yeah, I'm gonna go now guys, but I hope you all have a beautiful day and I will see you in my next video. Bye!